Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ray Dolan coming to you from Patrick Gaynor's house because he's got a book called My Pilgrimage to the Holy Land. And look at that for a magnificent photograph he has there. All done locally here in Mullingar by the www.topicprint.ie. Patrick, how's it going?
Well, sir, it's not too bad at all. This old age is not great. You get tired when you shouldn't get tired. Like.
Now, I believe you're only 84.
That's all, yeah. 2 months more, I'll be 85.
Oh, right. Well,
but then maybe on top of that, on the 3rd of July, we'll be 60 years married.
Congratulations.
To the same person.
That's fair play to you. But you seem to get on very well anyway.
Oh, not too bad. We've gone this far anyway. So, and we're great-grandparents now as well.
Well, you better say hello to all the grandchildren. Hello. Hello out there.
Hello, everybody. Someone will be on watching this, I suppose.
Brilliant.
So we had five,
hello, Joe. Yeah.
Five in family and 6 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild.
My God.
So that's the result of us getting married, I suppose. And they have a few more.
And so, are you from this area?
Oh yeah, a couple of miles over the road there.
So we're in Clonkill.
No, well, Clondalever, on the road up to Michael O'Leary. That's where I was born.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you would go down this road and then take a right and then take another right. That's down to Michael's house.
Yeah, well, the 4 roads you go straight through it, but it's a staggered, and then you take a right, and you go straight up there. Michael is on that road.
I got lost there a good few times.
It's very easy to get lost over there. It looks like a place where they had a truckload of roads, and we throw on here and we throw on there. Everybody gets lost that goes over there.
It wasn't a cow anyway. Do you know the way it says that when all the cows used to walk around, and that's how they found the roads, the meandering?
It wasn't a cow. No, part of that road was originally the main road between the Nugent's castle in Delvin and the castle at Topham, and carrying on to the castle at Gaynor at Montefarnham.
Wow.
That was all Nugents. Sir Gilbert and Nugent came there as a Norman.
Right.
And that was what they owned at one time. And we're told that when Cromwell came in 1649 and he was plundering everything that was around the place, when he came to the top of Topham Hill and looked down, the castle was already on fire. So
we're born in this before you get it.
Shut off. That's the play for him. Yeah.
Now, we have this book here, My Pilgrimage to the Holy Land. Is it about the Holy Land?
It is. Well, it is, but it's not a prayer book as such.
Right.
It's an account of my pilgrimage to the Holy Land with a group of pilgrims from Mullingar.
Right.
And the spiritual advisor or the leader of the pilgrimage was Father McMahon. He was administrator of Mullingar at the time.
Right.
So I joined a group at the cathedral on the 18th of August 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And we set out for 8 days to the Holy Land.
Right.
And that is a fascinating piece of country. It's very small.
Yeah.
But the amazing thing in it, you have the city of Jerusalem is up on the Judean hills.
Mm-hmm.
And God help any man that's trying to be a lawnmower salesman there, because it's nearly all rocks. And from there you go, and as you're going on down towards the Dead Sea, somewhere on the road about halfway you see sea level, written on the side of the road, sea level. When you go to the Dead Sea, then the surface of the Dead Sea is 410 metres below sea level. When you're going down on the bus, you feel as if you were coming in on a flight to land. Your ears will begin to pop a little bit.
Right.
It's pretty low now.
Yeah.
And it was until they made the nuclear submarines, we called them, the regular old submarine. It was possible for a plane to glide over just the top of the water at a lower altitude than the submarine could go in the ocean.
Amazing. But the Dead Sea is all salt, isn't it?
Yeah, you can lie in the Dead Sea on your back and read the paper if you want. You're not going to sink. And you better not try to swim in it, right? Because you don't want it in your eyes or your ears or swallow it or anything like that. It's about 35%, I think, salt or something. And then there's a whole lot of what we would call minerals to grow anything. If you got take it out of it and put it somewhere else, it'll grow stuff, you know. But it's completely dead. There's no life of any sort in it. And up in the Golan Heights, you probably hear about them when there was trouble there. The Jordan River rises up there somewhere, and it flows down roughly on the border between the country of Jordan and Palestine, as it used to be, or the Holy Land, as we call it now, Israel and the West Bank, I suppose you call it. And it flows into what's called the Sea of Galilee. Now, neither the Dead Sea nor the Sea of Galilee are seas because you can see over them. You know what I mean? They're like big lakes.
Okay, yeah.
And it flows on down there and continues on and flows into the Dead Sea, but nothing flows out.
Ah.
And the water is still going down.
So it's a sort of an amazing, really, spot.
It is an amazing spot. And while I was over there, there was something, I think, by the Israeli government where they would like to keep it from going down. In other words, bring water to it from the Red Sea. But they couldn't figure out how they were going to do it without bringing any kind of life into it. They didn't want to upset
the ecosystem
of itself. You know? And when you're there, you can see places where I think it was Jordan and Israel that were fighting many years ago anyway. And the outpost, if you like to call it that, or a Jordan settlement, was on the edge of the sea.
Right.
It's now a kilometre almost away from it. Half a kilometre anyway.
So tell us, what did you put in the book? Or don't give too much away, but just give us sort of a little bit of a...
No, well, I went there with no intention at all of writing anything. I often wanted to go, and then I finally got a chance.
And you're a holy man, are you?
Not really.
Right.
I go.
You go to mass and
prayers and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I'm reading in the church on the Sunday at the present day, but that kind of stuff.
Which church? In town?
Tottenham.
In Tottenham. Okay, right.
No, this is Tottenham Parish here.
Okay.
And I often wanted to go because I'd be interested in what was in. We're hearing these readings, and since we're going to school, and and what's this?
What is this place? Yeah.
And after the Annunciation, they said that Mary went as quickly as she could to the hill country to visit her cousin Elizabeth.
Right.
Now that's an awful small sentence for all it entails. This is a distance of about 90 miles.
Oh.
And the only way to go at that time was walking or on a donkey. Now, she probably would be fit enough to walk faster than a lot of them, but you can't go on your own. You had to keep with the group.
Right.
The women always travel together, and the men travel together, even though they'd be husband and wife.
Yeah.
They wouldn't travel separate, which is why they lost Jesus in the finding of him in the temple. You know that part.
Right.
But went over there anyway, and it is fascinating, the whole thing. And it's talk about walking. The day that we spent in the old city of Jerusalem, I don't know how many, I never counted the steps, but we walked thousands of steps.
And was there many people there? Like, was there a lot of pilgrims there at the time?
A lot of pilgrims, a lot of them. You see, there's a kind of a war going on all the time between the Jews and the Palestinians.
Yeah.
But both of them need the tourists.
Keep the war going.
Maybe to keep the war going, although if you notice Jerusalem, the three middle letters with USA, they're financed by New York Jews.
Anyway, another thing. Yeah, go on ahead.
I went round on all that, and we were praying, and we were, walking and praying, and it was awful funny in ways, because we spent 8 days there, praying and going to mass and receiving communion every day and all that, and then we come back to Dublin. A fellow picked us up on the bus,
right,
and there was a car behind the bus,
right,
All our said was he made new ones, dressing this car. Father McMahon was the first to laugh, and in a few minutes everybody on the bus was laughing.
Couldn't get the stuff into the boot because the car was stuck to the
here. No,
the
he
boot
couldn't
of
get
it.
out of where he was.
Oh, right.
They had to reverse out. He couldn't get out of where he
Now
was.
tell us, you were born in this area, but you went abroad for a few years.
We did.
Where'd you go?
We went to Canada.
Yourself and the missus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 2.5 children the first time.
Oh, right. And when did you go? When did you go?
See, we got married in '63.
Right.
And Betty's sister was a nurse, and she went to Boston shortly after the wedding. And she was up, and she used to be in contact, you see, that it was a great place to be and all that kind of a thing. There was an awful lot of Irish over there and have this and other. Not that there mightn't be much good here, but anyway, to be there. So anyway, we got on with a bit of land, and it was scattered. It wasn't that big for the start, but a bit here, a bit there, and a bit, you know.
Yeah.
And sure, whatever about having a little bit for myself, my mother was alive at the time. My father died, what was he at all? He was only about 10 days dead when we got married.
Right.
And a whole lot of stuff to be sorted out, and bills to be made, and all this. Struggled on for a couple of years anyway, and then we decided we were going to try and go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, so we decided we'd go to the US, over to Boston.
Right.
So we went. I think that was in 68. It was just after Christmas, 68. We went to the US Embassy in Dublin.
Right.
And it would take 3.5 years of a wait for us to go, whatever was wrong with that, I don't know. So when we were there anyway, sure, we're not going home empty-handed. We decided we'd go to the Canadian Embassy.
Right.
And we could go there in 6 weeks. So that's where we went.
Off to Canada.
We spent most of our time living in Toronto. We're in Hamilton for a while, which is the steel city of Canada. You know, like Sheffield or whatever you call that other one over in England. But we were there, and there was talk about, there used to be hurling championships and football championships there. There was that many Irish there, you know, and some of them were helpful and some of them not so good. But anyway.
And what did you work at that time, or what you start working at?
Well, I started working in a cabinet shop, and I was, after only a month, I think it was, I was on a machine. I was doing special machining. That's what it, because I'd pick up anything, you know.
Yeah, you had a gift of just picking up and getting stuck in, and no problem working.
No problem working, not at all, no. And
so you 2.5 kids here anyway when you got there.
Yeah, we went over in the 19th of April, 55 years just gone by there.
Wow. That's
when we went. And then I went with myself and an 18-year-old brother of Betty's.
Ah.
I brought the child with me.
Right.
He never moved. Well, he did move a bit, but he's still over there.
Brilliant.
And then another brother and Betty and the 2 children arrived in June, I think it was. When I got a kind of set up. I got a job quick enough, but you don't make too much money at having to work over there. So I stayed at that for a little while. And then I got into the Irish Union over there. And of course the money was to be made then in the tunnel.
Right. Which tunnel now is this? Or local tunnels?
It's what they call the tube in England, the subway.
Ah, right.
Extending the subway under the city.
In Toronto.
In Toronto. It's the same as mining out in the northwest country where an awful lot of them went to.
Yeah, my uncle went there. Uncle Vincent.
Oh, Vincent is right, yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to him when he came home. Years and years ago. But anyway.
So you started digging the tunnel underneath there.
Or there.
Was it all Irishmen?
No. There was Irish, Portuguese and Italians. And the union over there, the local union, Local 183, the Labour, Local 183, Labour's International Union, I think that's what it was. Headquarters would be in the States somewhere. And when they started it, it was McNally was the name.
Mm-hmm.
But they'd done sewer tunnels and all that before that. And they didn't like paying people too well. You know?
Oh.
And they were getting away with it with the Portuguese and the Italians and that kind of a thing, you know.
Right.
So when they got our gang in on it, anyway, and our lads was the head of the union as well, even though there'd be a couple of hundred of us, and there was thousands of Portuguese and thousands of Italians.
Yeah.
And I said to one of them one day, how do you agree with us to be running the union? And you were working there. He said, oh, but you talk a great game. He said, we wouldn't get as much money only for you.
Very good.
I spent 3 years in it. I wouldn't go back into it at all. I just made a bit of money when I was there. And
Right. Now, that was 3 years in Canada, or just 3 years?
3 years, from 70 to 73.
Right.
From early 70 to 73. We worked in compressed air as well, almost like working in the back tyre of a tractor. 20 pounds pressure.
Dangerous.
No, not a bit dangerous, unless you want to go out at the weekends. But since I wasn't a drinker at all, you see,
Right.
it didn't affect me one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them, lads trying to come in, if they had any sign of drink on them, well, if they didn't agree to go, the police would bring them over there.
Oh, right.
Oh no, you couldn't. You had to go through an airlock to get in, you know.
A compression?
Compression, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what was compressing like? Just
Keeping out
machines?
water.
Ah.
Keeping out water.
In the tunnel?
Yeah, in the tunnel.
So you couldn't have a lad with a few drinks in him in there now with the pressure machine?
No.
Gee, God, no.
And then we got set up anyway on bonus, and they had the Irish gang, Portuguese gang, and Italian gang.
Mm.
They weren't long about breaking that up. Because when we were on a half, on a go slow kind of a thing,
Yeah.
we couldn't stop them from working.
Oh.
But when we went on bonus, they weren't long about breaking up the gangs. We were way ahead of them. Ahead all the time. So they had to break up and put different, you know, some of every nationality on each team.
Oh, right, yeah.
No, it was, you get good money. There was a fellow operating, Leonard something or other was his name. He operating a crane on the job.
Mm.
I done a bit of that for a while as well. Banksman, signalman, you know. And but he was saying, oh, you're getting far. What do you think? Is there doctors or pilots or what? I say, well, you go down and I'll do your job. No, he says, I won't. But then he says, what are you complaining about? They wouldn't go down into it.
Right, yeah. And tell us, so you lasted there or stayed there for 3 years and then came home. What did you do when you came home?
We stayed for 5 years.
All right.
Altogether.
Mm.
But what we do when I came home, I started for planning permission and I built this house. Myself.
Yourself?
Yeah.
Gee, it's not a bad job and still looks very up to date now as well. So, and I like your decking in the back there. Did you do that?
No, Matt, my son done that.
Good man,
He
Matt.
done it off the internet.
Wow.
This is the kind of a deck to have beyond where they're making the hairy stuff beyond in the woods in North America.
Ah, right.
You know, they have this kind of timber, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said to him, are you going to land helicopters on it or what? So there's legs of bits of ESP poles holding it up, you know.
It looks good and it looks, no, it's not going to fall anyway.
No, it's not going to fall.
So you came home, did you start in the carpentry? No, you built the house. Is this a wooden house?
No, it's
No,
not. I built the blocks. I was going to get block layers, but while I was doing it, I went for a short while onto it's construction in Canada, but it's buildings over here.
That's right,
in Mullingar.
Yeah.
And I saw some of the block laying. That's enough of that. That's why I wound up doing it. And the plan wasn't to build it myself, but
Right. It worked out that way.
it worked out that way.
And so you came home and built the house.
Built the house and it went on. We moved in here in March 76, even when we came home in 73.
Mm-hmm.
It was late 73 when I came home, but it was 74, well on into nearly over 74 before I got going with planning permission and all that kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah.
And drawings, and then a house with a basement. We have a full basement here.
Oh.
Now, you imagine going to Mullingar planning authority start telling them about a house. What's that? Is it a split level? No. Is it a 2-story? No. An engineer come out to look when I was building it, and he walked around, he looking up everywhere. So what are you looking for? I'm looking for the shaft from the basement up here, because it would be over the grant size if there was. All right. 40, what was it, 4,900 or something square feet. Anyway, he was looking up, and then after a while he was going out, and he said to him, are you going? I said, I am. Mm. And did you not look upstairs? He said, I might find something I'm not supposed to find. He says, I'll challenge you now, right now, here and now. Come in and find something you're not supposed to find. Because I said, I'm building this to a higher standard than your regulations are.
Very good.
So I never seen him since.
But did he go in to have a look? Or did he keep
going?
No,
he kept going. Oh. Never come back.
Well, that was handy, wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
Very handy.
I was watching them to come back at any time. I was up around the wall plate up there at the time.
Right. Still looking now to see if the car coming. Is he going to stop us or not?
I didn't really care whether it was. But anyway, I tried to do a bit of farming then for a while again.
Right, because you'd come from a farming background with your father and that, yeah?
Yeah, but my mother was after, when I went back then, she actually signed over, because I only had half the land before that.
Okay.
So she signed over the rest of it. She said to me, one day I was over there not long home, and she says, I suppose you want the land.
Well, you're the only son now?
No, of a brother.
Okay.
But he set out to be a priest.
Right.
Well, he set out to be a priest, and I set out to be a farmer. This is what we were told to do.
Okay.
But neither of us worked out. Frank, you probably know Frank Gaynor.
Frank Gaynor. Well, I'd say I probably do. Well, his family probably know. Well, there you are.
No.
It's dedicated to him, is it?
There's my certificate.
All right. In Jerusalem.
It has to be here or something.
Picture of Frank.
Or is it? No,
it's not in there.
There's a page somewhere that's missing. Oh yeah, I put it there. Mm-hmm. Frank Gaynor for all his editing help.
Did he edit much?
He did quite a bit.
Right. And what did he end up doing then?
Well, he couldn't get anything here.
Mm-hmm.
When he come out of Maynooth, it wasn't a very popular thing to do at that time. You know. And he wound up, there was a priest here, and he was looking for volunteers for the missions.
Right.
And he spent over 30 years in East Africa.
Oh.
Teaching. And he got his diploma, and he went in the meantime to University in Cambridge or some of these in England anyway. Mm-hmm. I don't know which one. It was hard to keep up with him. He was going.
He was getting so much education.
So much. Yes, yeah. And he was in many countries. Kenya, Swaziland.
Really, yeah?
And then, Swaziland. Malawi.
Right.
Then Swaziland is one of these little lads surrounded by South Africa.
That's right, yeah, in
he was down there for a while as well.
Wow.
And he was back. He had done 2 terms at least in what do they call the other one there, Malawi.
Mm. Now, was he a priest at the time, or was he a pilgrim?
He never became a priest. He only got his BA degree in Maynooth.
Right.
That was it, 3 years. That's all he was there.
So he really went as a teacher then?
He went as a teacher, oh yeah.
And
continued as a teacher all the time. In the meantime, he got married and had children. I don't know whether they were all born in Africa.
Mm.
They might have been.
And did he marry an African?
No, he did not. He married Monica McQuaid from Mullingar. Did you ever hear of Brendan McQuaid?
Yeah.
A sister.
All right. There you are now. Now, Gaynors, you're saying, are you into the Gaynor shop in town?
No.
No. It's like the Dolans. There's Dolans and Mullingar. We're not related to them either.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was Dolans the Gaynors about less than a mile down the road from over there where we lived, and we're not related to them either. Mm. Although we both came from multi-direction.
Right.
See, my family came from where Johnny Owens has the pit.
Ah, right.
Or near enough to it. There's Gaynors Hills over there. It was called the Flag of the Gayn River.
Right.
And there was a flag of the Gayn, that's what they were. And the tradition in the family, I heard my old aunt talking about. She was born in 1880.
God.
Older than the GA. And she used to talk about that they talked about them getting flooded down there.
Right.
So they'd have to move and when they get flooded and then they go back. They were, you know, they had nothing, sure. And a cousin, a Gaynor from up here in Clonkill, he'd be a cousin at that time. I don't know how far out he'd be a cousin now. You know. But he was the rent collector for Knockdrin. Knockdrin was all over this area at that time. And
Knockdrin Estate, yeah.
Knockdrin Estate,
yeah.
Sir Richard Leving. And the castle and all that kind of thing. Castle built in 1810. But he got long before that he was told to get a herd for Clondalever, part of Clondalever. And he couldn't very well, you know, being a rent collector, wouldn't be the most popular man in the parish. He couldn't exactly go around and pick up anybody, because sometimes he'd have to collect the rent with a couple of the policemen with him. So he got his cousin.
Right.
And I think it was what do you call them, stonemasons from Knockdrin to come over, because nobody would build anything to do with the rent collector, you know.
Right, right.
But that's where the little house was. And I think that was somewhere around 1790 or 1795, along there somewhere.
You're a bit of a historian as well yourself.
And we came from a townsland called Down. John O'Grady owns it now. There's only 65 acres in it.
Right.
Altogether, that's all in the townsland.
Wow.
That's Down. Up here is Downs.
Right.
Christy Austin and them up here, up that Crooked Road is there. And then when you go up to the Dublin Road, it's Death Downs. So you have Down, Downs and Death Downs.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You learn a bit every day. You stayed here long enough, we'll be able to teach you something.
And then you have Mr. Nooney up above there looking at the stars.
Yeah, looking at the stars. That's right.
I tell you, it's a great place. I mean, there's some serious characters. I've interviewed about 3 people around this area now.
Who in particular?
John Noon.
John, oh yeah, John's great.
And yourself now, and then, well, we've played music actually up in Clonkill House.
Oh yeah.
So we're covering a lot of things
who was
here.
up there at that time?
Well, the owners are there now.
It wasn't the man that used to be in the Crooked Wood house. He was there for a while.
That's right, yeah. The lady's now, her name is not coming to me, but
there's
new people in there, yeah.
New people are there. Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to the book.
Yeah.
The book, as I say, is how many pages in it?
It's about 120.
And if it's details on the Holy Land you seek, this is the book for you.
I wish I had that book before I went.
Right.
It would have meant an awful lot more to me then when I was over there.
Exactly.
Because like that, you know, the visitation. I mean, 90 miles. You know.
It's a great book anyway, and lovely pictures. Do you take them pictures?
I did, yeah.
Good man. Welcome to
I
Bethlehem.
took them. If I had... No, oh yeah, that's interesting. Do you know that chief?
It's our own chief here from Clonkill. The Clonkill chief, dressed up.
That was dressed up. It's written in it anyway. But we went into a bedroom place to get something to eat, you know.
Yeah.
Some of the lads one lad come over to me. They'd be a good bit taller than them mostly. And
exactly, yeah.
He come over and must be the height of his. He says, "Do you mind if we if you dress up?"
All right.
So he dressed me up as the chieftain.
Right.
And some of them, he picked more out of the place. These were my wives and these were my servants. You should read that.
And tell me, did you pray much when you were there, apart from all the walking?
Pray much?
Yeah. Or was there time to pray?
Every morning sometimes during the day for Mass. And then there'd be the readings. And of course there was the readings, when you go to the Garden of Gethsemane, there's readings about what happened in the garden, you know.
Right, yeah.
And about anything. I couldn't believe the garden of Gethsemane. The olive trees are there, and they pretty well look like they were there from the time of Christ. And the way they grow, they could have been.
Yeah.
Because they put little stone walls to keep them up because they'll fall down.
Mm.
But why they're keeping them up is because the growth comes out of the middle of them.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Now, I don't know whether the olive, what they take the olive oil out of, whatever they're called.
Mm.
Olives, sure is what they're called.
Now tell us, you came back, Olives is right, you came back to Mullingar and you built the house. What business did you get into then? Did you start with your carpentry?
Farming, and then in 1981, I stumbled on a job in Dublin to do with a sewer tunnel.
Right.
And I went up to get a job for another fella, and I was talking to the site agent, as they called them up there.
Yeah.
He called me one morning at about 7:15 or something. He says, "What are you doing?" Well, I said, "I'm like everyone else around here, I'm in bed." And "Can you be here at 10 o'clock?"
Yeah.
I said, "I suppose I can. What do you want?" "I want to give you a job," he says. "And what kind of a job is it?" He says, "Driving a van." Jenny said, "I don't know nearly everything in a tunnel. I never drove a van in a tunnel before."
Very good.
So, see, the company was from Manchester.
Right.
The workers were from Mayo and Roscommon and Sligo.
Right.
Nobody knew Dublin. And when you're doing all this heavy work and that, you need some place that supply steel and piping and all this kind of stuff that's required. A valve. You see, a valve, like it's these kind of things.
Yeah.
And he said to me, "Do you know Dublin?"
Right.
I said, "I know all the main parts of it, and I'll be able to find no matter where I have to go."
Yeah.
And so I worked at that for 2 years, and came back then. And
So your job was collecting pieces, but to make sure that you got the right piece in the right part of the town.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just an ordinary job driving a van.
I was opening up accounts for them.
Yeah.
In Heaton Buckley or Heaton McFerrin.
Yeah.
Heaton McFerrin was the one. Heaton Buckley, I think, is timber.
And they get the right part then as well. It's nice going into town, spending 3 hours and coming back with the wrong thing.
With the wrong No, I wouldn't be coming back with the wrong thing. But it mightn't be where the account was set up.
Right.
And I would get an order from them for somewhere else to get it.
Ah.
That's why I could do that more than because they wouldn't know where to go.
Right.
But that was a good job. Go back then and fiddling around for a little bit to see what were we going to do. And then I thought, we might set up some kind of a business of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
But then wasn't there a fella trying to get out of running minibuses to school?
Right.
He had only one anyway. And we made some arrangements, and of course you do everything through the bank. And of course they don't want money or anything,
No.
But anyway, we started on the school run in 84, I think it was, the very start of 84. But then getting going on these school runs means you have to do so much time in Athlone is where we were going to get your certificates.
Even at 1984.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I got a certificate anyway, and then Sergeant Nolan, PSV man, he told me I went as far as 16-seater.
Right.
That's as far as you can go. I said, "What do you mean that's as far as you can go? Sure, will I not be getting a big
More kids going to school
you want another certificate."
Yeah.
So I done that, and I got it for Ireland. Then I realised I couldn't go to Northern Ireland.
Oh.
So, not that I wanted at that time, but anyway, sometimes he'd be, there was buses going to Jonesboro and this kind of a thing.
Exactly, yeah.
But I couldn't cross the border. So I done another one then and got the European, so I could drive to Greece if I wanted. That's what that covered. All this. And the other lad I know was in buses around that time, and he done these certificates about 3 or 4 times and didn't pass it all.
Oh, there was down there.
it wasn't easy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, not too easy.
So many buses do you end up with then?
Oh no, I only wound up with, I had a 53-seater.
All right.
I drove that. And then she drove the Volkswagen minibus.
Oh, Betty.
Yeah.
All right.
She done a run to the school of South Hill.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Where the special people have to go.
Yeah.
You know. And I was doing school runs. I was taken in and went off up by near Delvin into the Hardy and round that way Killucan and on into Mullingar. I had over 50 on the bus.
Jenny God, that was a long bit of driving.
A long bit of driving is right, especially when something had happened and you'd be rooting at it. I was doing too much anyway, putting leaves in springs or something at the time, you know. Go to bed at 5 o'clock and get up at 6:30 and come straight home from the school and you were going into bed.
And then making sure it worked.
I couldn't survive at that.
Right.
You had to get either bigger or get out.
That's right, yeah,
So
yeah.
what we done was we got out and some of our family had decided to go to Toronto.
Right.
And some of them were born over there and some of them were born here, like, you know. So,
Yeah.
So we decided then we'd take off to Toronto again in 1990.
Good man.
Locked up the house here. Went with us to Toronto.
Go to Toronto.
And you know what happened? It was probably the worst thing I ever done.
Go away.
I ran into bad health when I went over there. And they had me in the North York General Hospital for 3 or 4 days doing all kinds of tests.
Right.
And in the finish, they said they found out what was wrong. Well, what they didn't want to have, because part of the time there was 2 nurses linking me down a short corridor to get X-rays or something, whatever it was. I wouldn't mind it any other time, but I wasn't able to mind anything. I couldn't stand up at the time, and my power was gone.
Right.
And I went into him anyway, and he says to me, "It's a B12 deficiency." And I said, I said, "Is that not easy enough to pick up?" Well, he says it is.
We're looking for something else.
And he said, "You don't get that. You have that from birth."
Oh.
And he says, "You should have collapsed when you were 25. You should never have got into your 50s. And that's what we're trying to find out.
Ah.
So I thought I was losing blood and they were checking everything. They nearly starved me to death.
Right.
So it turns out that I get an injection.
A B12 injection.
B12 injection.
Off you
will
go
for
again.
the rest of my life.
Very good.
Every 6 weeks. And it was every day for a start.
Right.
You know. But,
and how did you manage out? I mean, to get sick in Canada, was it expensive or was it in the insurance or what? How did that work out?
Well, Ontario at that time had a very good Ontario health insurance, OHIP, Ontario health insurance policy. And it came from, if you were there, your social insurance number, and the money comes out of the tax on the fuel, petrol and diesel.
Oh.
They don't throw away the tax like here.
Ah.
You know. But anyway.
Different system.
Different system altogether. No, it didn't cost me anything to be in there, only that I couldn't do what I was wanting to do. In the meantime, I was trying to qualify as a real estate agent, which is the equivalent of an auctioneer here.
Good man, good man.
Oh, I didn't qualify as well.
Right.
But I lost my energy then.
Yeah.
And that was 91 and 92. I went to George Brown College in Toronto for a year to qualify. Like, you know, doing mortgage and doing this, that and the other. It's completely... I wound up as a member of the Toronto Real Estate Board, the Ontario Real Estate Association, and the Canadian Real Estate Association.
Whoa.
Members of everything, you know.
My God.
And then when I came back here, I was trying to see pretty well who you know more than what else was on here.
Different system again.
I don't know. No, I didn't bother with it.
And tell me, so how many years were you then in Canada then the second time?
5 again.
5 again.
Well, 5.5 each time. We're 11 years altogether.
Good man. And tell us, did you get to sell or buy any houses when you got the?
I did. I got
the farm done?
a bit of work done, all right.
Yeah.
But my energy was low enough. You see, I couldn't get right into it the way you should.
Exactly. Yeah.
Going around looking for listings and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I done a bit of leasing as well. So.
Right.
So anyway, that was that end of it. So we came home then in '95. And Betty stayed for a while with the grandchildren and then came home in '96.
Mm-hmm.
So it was hard enough to get going. And then the last thing I done before I retired in '06 from teaching computers.
You were teaching computers?
Yeah.
Come on.
I was in the 1428 club for a while.
Ah, right.
And I wound up in Sweets in Kilbegan.
My God.
Why is it so? Best of
Sweet.
Southwest Mead Employment Education and Training Service.
My God.
Service.
And were you,
were
you teaching other people or were you teaching yourself?
No, teaching other people.
Right.
Teaching people that
How to do coding?
mostly, no, not the coding.
No.
How to do Word,
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to find out, the people that was coming to me were older people, and they wanted to find out what their children were doing. So they might have an idea, you know what I mean?
Catch up with them, yeah.
Catch up a little bit with them.
Yeah.
They were nowhere near it. But I had a great time up there. I was very involved in setting up, what was it, the start of the rural broadband scheme or something like that.
All right.
The name of it, I forget now. But we had to go to Dublin. We're in not Bertie Ahern, the other Ahern, the fellow from Loud. He was minister for whatever at the time. And we went in, we had an interview with him anyway.
Right.
And the manager around in Kilbegan didn't know what he was talking about. It was me who was with the interview with him. I set up the whole
the meeting. Yeah.
internet system in where we were working up there.
All right. And had you had like internet systems in America, like so you were a little bit ahead? No.
I never turned on a computer till I was 60.
And tell us, do you still use a computer now?
No, I do what little bits what I have to
Yeah.
do. I used to repair computers and that kind of a thing, but that's all gone now.
Good man.
You don't do that kind of stuff anymore. I'm not up with the modern things.
The technology has gone stone mad, hasn't it?
Mad.
It's unbelievable.
There's no repairing anything. You just throw it away and you have another bit.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Huh?
Isn't it shocking?
Yeah.
Throw it away.
The same
buy another piece.
same thing with your car.
Yeah.
Nobody repairs, no mechanics anymore, they're all fitters.
Yeah, because they're on the computer.
But I had great satisfaction up there. And then I retired in '06. I had a car crash.
Oh.
A rear ender. I was going through Turtles Pass. And you know where the pedestrian crossing there?
Yeah.
I came up to it and it was red and I stopped. But this woman driving behind me,
Didn't see you.
she wanted to give me a nudge in the behind. There was a tow bar on
Your car.
yeah, it was a 4x4. What the hell do you call it? Suzuki, I think it was. Grand Vitara, you know that one? Tow bar in the back of it. She had a Nissan Primera. And it cut the tow bar out of the chassis and pulled a bit of the chassis with it. And I felt in the middle of my back. But I didn't feel until 2 or 3 days later that when I went to the doctor, he told me I had whiplash.
Oh.
I didn't feel that at all.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
But more of a shock than anything else to get
More of a
rear-ended, you
shock,
see.
a wallop in the back, you see, because she pushed the thing in under me. Like,
And you go back into
You
it.
go back, you see what happens with the whiplash, you go back, you're whipped.
Yeah.
You know, and no matter what kind of a headrest you have, it's not. Unless you're laying back dead straight into it, you know, that kind of way, you know.
And her car was in an awful state and yours didn't really, not much of a mark on yours, I'd say. Just, you got the whack.
I got the whack, and it was a write-off as far as insurance was concerned. And She was married to some fellow from the Middle East or something. I'm sure she was in an awful state. It wouldn't be a great thing to be going home and telling him driving his car. You know how women are treated over there. Anyway, I went through a bit of that, and they didn't really back me up where I was working, so I decided to leave them anyway.
Right.
So,
So that was retirement then.
The old age pension then. You know.
And how's the back now?
Back is good enough. The neck is there all the time and will be as long as I'm alive.
Ah,
You never get over it.
very Jenny.
You know. So.
And then you went and read the book.
Yeah, well, that was a long time after any of that thing happened. I visited Frank in Rwanda in '05, I think it was.
Right.
I finished up there. Yeah, he was there, director of Trócaire. He had long finished in Africa. So he got brought back to, the man asked him, I can't think of his name, that was over Trócaire at the time.
Right.
Asked him would he do it, and after refusing for about 20 times, he finally agreed. He went over for a year. So I went over to visit him there. I threatened many times to go over.
Mm.
Very interesting country as well.
Did you stay long?
No, only just 2 weeks.
Right, yeah.
You know, just visiting him and looking around and that kind of thing.
And is he still out there?
No, he's in Dublin.
All right, he's home now.
Oh, he's retired long ago. He's in Dublin. He got 2 hips done and he's waiting for 2 knees to be done. You know, a cartilage in either knee. So
Oh my God.
they told him that as long as he can keep, they don't know how he's walking, but as long as he can keep walking, keep walking.
Right, until he gets done then. And he'd be in his 80s as well, would he?
Yeah, he's 3 years younger than me.
All right.
He's 81, I suppose. But
And tell me, what do you do with your days now that you're 83? And do you get up early and have the breakfast and the porridge and go for a run or
I
what?
often wondered how the hell I had time to work. I do bits of everything, like, you know.
Yeah.
Different things come up now. The World Championship snooker, I like snooker.
Right.
17 days. No, I never played. Okay. Well, I knew where a world champion played beyond Toronto. Cliff Thorburn, have you heard of him?
Oh, yeah.
At Young and Steeles in Toronto.
Wow.
Cliff was the first outside of the UK to win the World Championship.
Very good.
And our own Ken Doherty was the second.
Yeah,
in 97.
Ken is a legend. Lovely guy as well.
He's great.
Yeah, top
Not
class.
everyone likes him. And the next lad to win it outside of the UK was Neil Robertson.
Hmm.
And now this lad, Luca Purcell from Belgium, he won it this year.
I haven't been up to date now in a long time.
Yeah.
Dennis Taylor now was
Dennis with the glasses.
the glasses upside down, and that was the ones. But we were in Canada with Joe on that. We played in the Holiday Inn in Canada in Toronto.
Oh yeah.
I always remember going down to it, and the ships pulling in right beside.
Oh, down on the quays,
Yeah.
down at the lakefront.
Yeah.
My daughter is working in a building on the lakefront at the present time.
Go away.
Yeah.
So are all your kids out there now?
No, not all. They're not all anywhere.
Right.
Anne is the oldest, and she lives in Kildare, Narmore.
Yeah.
And Catherine is next, and she lives in Vancouver.
All right.
And she has a husband, I suppose, and one son.
Right.
Noah, to call him.
All right.
So he's 13 and he's playing nice hockey and that kind of stuff. And
Good man, Noah. You'll be looking in there, maybe.
he might see it, yeah. And
You have a son then?
they live there. Son is here. He's just home there before you came.
Right.
He's working in Intel.
Ah, very good.
Third daughter is down the road there, about a half a mile down the road.
Mm.
And her second son is living at home with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a widow since she was 47.
Oh, no.
Her husband, who was 47 at the time, died with a tumour in the brain that they couldn't operate on.
Oh, right. Sorry to hear that.
That's good. And then Maria is the fourth girl, and she's in Toronto with a son and a daughter. And
Brilliant.
hopefully we'll see them all now for our wedding anniversary.
That'll be a big event.
3rd of July.
You'll be having a party.
We're having 75 or 80.
All right.
we'll be starting off like we did that time with Mass, 12 o'clock in Taunton Church.
Lovely.
And then we'll go to Bloomfield and we'll have get them all together. 75 or 80 of them, I think, if they all come.
Yeah.
And this is only family.
You know? God.
These things have a habit of spreading out after a while.
That's right, yeah. Well, when you put them together and then you get everyone coming and you go, oh my God, we've a big gang.
So it was on the 18th of August 2011 when I joined the pilgrimage to the Holy Land. And my book is an account of what we visited.
Right.
There's a little hint of prayers in it in a couple of places, but that was more or less what would you call it? We got a hint from it where we visited.
Exactly.
Of what would come to mind, like, you know.
So you'd say if anyone is going to the Holy Land, this is a book well worth reading.
Yeah, read that before you go.
Read this before you go, or if you want an account of what it is like out there, read this as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And will you go back? Would you like to go back?
Well, I'm 84 now.
Yeah.
I would like to go back, but I'm too old for that now. I wouldn't be able for
walking.
And the heat.
Yeah.
The heat. It was 42 degrees when we were at the Dead Sea.
And tell me, what's the plans now for the future, apart from the big party? Are you going to start a new job, or have you any?
I suppose I'll keep myself as late as I can for the coffin.
Late as I can for the coffin. I was going to ask you. Go on.
No, when I went there, I didn't go with the intention of writing a book.
Yeah.
And it was afterwards then I thought maybe I should write some kind of a record for the family. You know. And then, just as I had got my mind into doing something like that, Clonhill decided to write a book on their centenary. And of course, where would you go? How do you get information? You want to read examiners from 1910 or something.
Right.
Library.
Yeah.
And we're down there with the what do you call that, microfilm.
Oh yeah.
And I was the one, of course, again.
Got the job. You're the man. You know how to do
Other
it.
people, yeah. There was plenty of volunteers for the regular computers, but not too many for that kind of a thing, you know.
This is now the Clonkill group that put the book together.
Clonhill Hurling Club.
Right.
Put the book together, and they wanted to do a centenary book, but nobody knew exactly when the club was formed. So I had to go back at the examiners and find out when is the first mention of Clonhill.
Right.
Because some people thought it was 1915 and some was earlier, and you know, and that kind of a thing. And I found it in the finish after what seemed like years in there.
I'm going off in a different direction.
You lose your eyesight in there. Trying to read, you know, I don't know, you know the way the microfilm is made?
No, I have no idea. Never seen it.
There's an impression taken of a page of the Examiner from 1910 or whatever it is. That's reduced to 1/16 of its size, and it's put on the little strip of film.
Right.
And stored that way. And then you have a monitor that looks like a computer monitor, but it's a special one for this that you put the tape into. You put the film into it, and it'll blow it up again. Right. So you can imagine how hard it is to read that after. First of all, it mightn't be that clear of an impression anyway. Then cut it down, bring it up, and here you are trying to get something that you can read. And as sure as you get to the bit that you want to read, it's all blurred.
Right.
You know.
And tell us, did you find out any other things apart from Clonkill? Do you know the way you start looking at things?
You do.
And you go off on a tangent and you find out this and that and the other.
A few little things, and I printed them out, and I wanted them to put them in the book, like the price of a Ford major tractor.
Right.
At that time, you know, something like that.
Yeah, that was bought in town.
and different things like the prices of eggs and groceries and the market in Mullingar, this kind of stuff, you know, you'd come across some of that.
And is that book...
And you'd come across people that were hanged or whatever, you know.
All right.
Yeah, they were very friendly country at that time now. They used to hang them in Mullingar.
They'd hang you for nothing.
Inside the jail, yeah.
And
you'd be either transported to Australia or you'd be hanged for something like killing a rabbit. or something. Very friendly altogether, you know.
And tell us one question for you before we finish up. How did Crazy Corner become Crazy Corner? Or is that just a name of a thing, or just a hero and over?
There's a Crazy Corner here. There's another one up near Killucan there. And I don't know really how to come.
Oh, there's two Crazy Corners there?
There is, yeah.
Ah, right, okay.
And
is it just because there's a little bit of a turn to it, or that it's not a straight?
No, there was never a turn. It was straight and straight.
Right.
And there was very near being big accidents there, but lucky enough, the big accident that happened in the locality was at Clohan years ago. But anyway, it was a stop on some of the horse-drawn coaches that they had many years ago, and there was a barracks just down the road a little bit. And I'm not sure, other than that, why it was called the Crazy, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
See, it was the four roads coming together.
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
But,
well, that's fair enough. Look, for all our friends looking in.
When I got this, when we were at that book then, I thought, it's very important now to have records, so I should write the thing and make a book out of it if I can. I knew nothing about writing a book, you know.
This is how the pilgrimage to the Holy Land
arrived at a book.
At a book,
I thought I'd have to write it, and it was sitting on there, and I was just getting into it when, well, that was the time my son-in-law died, and a month after that, I was in the hospital with an irregular heartbeat, and it took them quite a while to get that, because I don't take any of these little medications or anything. So
well, you're on no medication at all?
Oh, not at all.
Good man, good man.
Well, I am now, but I wasn't. When I went into the hospital anyway, she came with a list like this. I want your medication for the morning. I said, yeah, a cup of tea. But see, when they gave me the medication that they would normally give anybody, it worked too much on me.
Ah, right, yeah.
And they nearly stopped my heart altogether.
Ah, right.
But they got that sorted out anyway. And got back a little bit. And the next thing was, I think it was a year later, I conked out. 3 days unconscious. Now, I don't remember anything about them 3 days. I was unconscious. And I woke up in Beaumont Hospital. And they were after drilling 4 holes into my head, as you can see.
Oh, yeah. Didn't notice them.
When I woke up, I had 4 holes in my head, and I had 25 staples keeping my scalp together. It was an emergency by the time I got to Beaumont. I was talking to a nurse afterwards, and she said I had about 2 or 3 hours left.
This is a regular heartbeat?
No, this is a bleed in my brain.
Oh.
Not in my brain. Subdural hematoma is what it's called.
All right.
It's a bleed in between the brain and the bone.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the minute any pressure comes on the brain, it starts closing it down. Lucky enough, it doesn't start with the heart, but it will wind up with the heart if it's left long enough. And hands, arms, everything. When my family went to see me in the bed the night before, well, I thought, if I got over this, I'd never walk again anyway, if I did survive the operation. But I come out, and from 8 o'clock until 1 o'clock, on the 1st of September 17, I was going to say I'd remember it, but I can't remember the operation. But about a half an hour after that, at 1:30, I was beginning to see things around, like, you know, that I was in a hospital or somewhere. You know?
Yeah.
And then by 2 o'clock, I was nearly as clear as I am now. And the family came in to meet me, and they were coming, and they didn't know what to me, didn't know whether I'd even be in the bed or not at this stage, you know. Coming on up, I seen them coming up the corridor, and where I was in a bed where I was in number 1 bed beside the operating theatre.
Right.
High dependency. In case they had to fire me back in again.
Yeah.
But when they came in then, after being shocked coming up the corridor, not knowing what to find, then they couldn't make head or tail out of me because I was talking. And I was laying straight in the bed for a change, which I hadn't done for 3 days.
Jesus.
So I survived that anyway. And I got back to my book, and I got Frank to do a little bit with me here and there and try and make some sense out of it. And what would you'd put into it, you know what I mean? The story. And Then, when we had that, she had printed. I called a couple of places in Dublin, and I think one was in Maynooth, and well, they weren't exactly racing down to have a chat with me.
Facilitate.
They didn't show much interest. We'll say.
Right.
Something about, send me a copy and we look at it, or something like this,
Yeah.
But I don't know where I thought about it, what happened, but I thought, I know Dick Hogan, and I thought, sure, they do printing and have their own printing set up there.
The only printer in the country, you could say, and their own paper, like.
Their own, everything, yeah. They're
everything.
only one, that prints their own.
Yeah.
And I thought, sure, should I go in and have a chat with them anyway? So I met Dick and Tom, and I had sheets of paper coming with me. Oh, no, they wanted digital form.
Oh, be God.
I put it on a USB drive anyway, and I brought it into them. And then I went back a couple of days later. Yeah, we think it's a pretty good thing. We'll print that for you.
Brilliant.
So I got 500 copies printed. And then they helped me no end getting what to do next.
Yeah.
You print, you have 500 books, what do you do with them?
Right. Exactly, yeah.
So, I had talked to Father Gaffney in the cathedral.
What a legend.
He's the administrator now.
Aye, some book.
So, I was expecting, because the pilgrimage was from Mullingar Cathedral, that it would be something like Father McMahon, that I'd get a bit of help from it.
Yeah.
So, you can launch it down there in the community centre. You just talk to the girls. Talk to the girls in the front office there, and everybody wants to push it over on somebody else. Go down there and talk to such one. Down to the community centre. No, she's not here today. Come back some other day. And then whoever she was, I don't know, but she said you have to get your own insurance. And she said it's booked now for next Thursday, if they can get insurance. And she said, how many people would you be having? How many people would you want to get insurance for? I said, there could be 10 or 200, I don't know. So I didn't spend too long with them anyway.
Right.
And I would come back and had a word with Frank then, and Frank said to me, what about Bertie? So I went in and I talked to Bertie anyway.
That's Bertie Dunn now.
Bertie Dunn.
Bertie
Dunn and the Anbrook.
Yeah.
Sure, no problem at all. We do that on a Thursday at 7 o'clock. We have rooms upstairs. We have, all he says, talk to the girls. I talked to the girls. This was a different girls to be talking to now. These were business people. They knew what they were talking, what they were, and what I wanted.
Exactly, yeah.
So I said to them that I wanted a microphone in the room. Well, sure, we can organise that. And she was still looking at the computer, and she said, wait a minute, she said. The ballroom is up there, and it's free that day, and the microphone is in it. So you can have the ballroom. Simple as that. Talk about, and I run around the town like,
Anyway,
it was the church. I thought I would get into St. Paul's.
Yeah.
Because we had a meeting there before we went on the pilgrimage. And what I thought was, I'd get in there, into that little, whatever you call it, crying room, if you like to call it that.
Right.
Get in there. Fair enough, there was too many people then, go over to the far side, away from the tabernacle.
Yeah.
And you could have your meeting there.
Yeah.
But sure, I got no operation in there.
No, yeah.
I left a book with Father Gaffney, and he never even let me know that he got it. I left it in the thing for him. I actually left in, 4 books in the shop at the cathedral, and they slightly reluctantly took it.
Right.
I took them. They went back to see did they sell any of them. No, we'll call you after a few weeks and you may bring them home. In the meantime, I went out to put a flyer into Millie for the launch.
Right.
And he said there was also been a bit in the paper about it in the topic. And he seen me in the distance. Oh, you wrote a book, I'll sell it for you.
That's Millie Walsh.
Millie Walsh at the Dublin Bridge.
Yeah.
And I said, you won't sell anything until I launch it first. I'm just giving you a flyer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Bring it in when you're ready. So I brought in 12 books to him, and he sold them. I brought in 10 more, and he sold them. And I brought in 10 more, and he has 4, I think, is left.
Brilliant.
And Millie pays me for the books the minute I leave them in.
Oh,
So he's fairly confident in selling them, isn't he?
he is, and a very straightforward bit of business. Yeah,
For a bit of business is right. He looks after his customers, as he says.
correct and right. Did you see the movie?
I did.
What do you
I
think?
did. I was in the gravel. Well, I thought it was hilarious altogether. There is only one Millie in the country, in any country, I think. You would not find anyone. You go, in the middle of the day, going in and taking a scoop of porridge and a slug out of the mug of tea that he made 4 or 5 hours before that. He's
Priceless.
He's priceless. There's no doubt about it. He's talking about that he'll retire in a couple of years. Hope he never retires.
No.
We don't want him to retire.
No.
But I left in books then with Just Books.
All right.
And she sold 10. And then I left in another 10, and there's a couple of them there still.
Brilliant. So if anyone wants to get them, you can get them in them 2 places.
Yeah,
Walsh's
Millie
and
Just Books.
Just Books.
And Rochford's.
Oh, brilliant.
I
Yeah,
was in
Rochford's.
Rochford's. I left in 12 there. And there's some of them there, I don't know exactly, is it 5 or 6 or something that's left still?
Right,
you know?
yeah.
And one of the ladies told me one day I went in, she said, we'll put it on Facebook, is it all right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, of course it is all
Yeah.
right, you carry on.
Brilliant.
So maybe it's on Facebook and maybe it's
It's
not,
on
I don't know.
Facebook now, anyway, because we were chatting about it here on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Now, the launch went very well because there was hundreds of people at it. I couldn't get over the crowd.
There was a good crowd.
Oh, Lord God, it was
Nice
fantastic.
crowd. And we sold 70 books, I think it was, or 68 or something like that. You know.
Right.
That's it.
You'll be nearly going back to print now again. You'll have to get more after this.
There's a good few of them gone, all right, but I still have a good few.
Right.
You know, there's more than half of them gone, I think. But then I gave away a lot of them to family and to different people, like, you know.
It's hard to get the money off the family, isn't it?
Well, it's not an economic project from start to finish.
That's true, yeah.
What I wanted to do was I wanted to get an account of a trip to the Holy Land and get it out to as many people as I could. And for the money that I get, I promised that I would give money to St. Vincent de Paul.
All right.
So I gave them 100 around Christmas, and I gave them another 100 there recently.
Good man.
So I don't know whether that'll help or hinder, but they could do with it this year anyway, in particular.
And they've changed their name now to Vincent.
Vincent's, yeah. But then there is another company that, and another something like them, that is now de Paul. So they must have split.
Ah, right, yeah.
Vincent fell out with Paul. But they must have broke up the combination or something.
Communitarian.
Or maybe in this time we're living in, maybe they got a divorce.
These times is right. Now, there's a woman here, and she's looking in from Canada, and she regularly is with us, right?
Right.
And she's a great woman to write to us, always on the programme here. She says, "Good afternoon to you, Ray and Patrick. Congratulations on your 65 years today, married this year, Patrick and wife. Wonderful for you. Miss your live on the bus sessions, because we sing in the bus earlier on. And busy fella today. You are today, Ray. Great interview with some crack along with it. Nice little story of Patrick's time in Canada. And same province I live in." So she's in the same province.
Ontario.
Our city, it's going off this beer now. Our city, she's after moving on me there. Yeah, our city, North Bay, is 4.5 hours north of Toronto.
North of Toronto, yes.
Crazy city, Toronto. So fast moving. Well, probably now it is.
Great city.
Yeah.
Great city, one of the best.
A very clean city as well.
Yes.
And what else have we got here? Distance away. Yeah. So we'll read
Who is this now?
This is a lady now who regularly comes in and order Kathy Fisher Minor Flood. Kathy Flood.
Cathy Flo.
And she's in Canada, and she's a great one for writing to us. Like, she leaves great messages and always communicating really well. So that's really live now. We're going straight to Canada.
Straight to Canada, right?
Yeah.
Right. Anyone on Facebook now might be picking us up, would they?
All these people are watching us. So, yeah, all these people, and some people left messages.
You can't do anything on the quiet, can you?
No, it's all out there now.
Not with somebody like Ray around anyway.
We broadcast everything. So they're all the messages coming in now from Pauline Keegan is looking in there from Dublin. She says, "Good man, Paddy. Fair play to you."
Pauline Keegan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. When we were doing the bingos, we used to play music on the bus for them, the real old style stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, old time waltzes and all this kind of
Going
stuff.
to the bingo.
Going to the bingo, and sometimes it'd be in the middle of it, like Grace or something like that.
Yeah.
Be in
So
the
a little
middle of
ballad.
that. They wouldn't go into the bingo. They'd wait until it was over.
Magic. Valentina Popescu is looking in from Bucharest, saying good evening to everyone. Ingrid is looking in the whole way from Holland. She joins us every day. Margaret Russell is looking in from downtown Mullingar, and she's after sharing this to her friends.
Margaret Russell.
Yeah, and
Margaret Russell. I used to know a Pat Russell.
up in Patrick Street
And
there.
Anne Russell. I think that's where they were from.
Joe Tracy is watching now. I don't know if Joe Tracy's still there, but we can send. No, we can't. Joe Tracy is a gentleman who has a boat on the canal, and I done an interview with him way back down in Athlone. So he brought his boat down the canal to Athlone Harbour and that. So great collection of people.
Shannon Harbour.
Shannon Harbour, yeah. So that's all the crew, some of the crew that we can see at the moment. And some have left messages and some.
Oh, sorry, Shannon Harbour's not at Athlone.
Shannon Harbour's in Shannon. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to say goodbye. We say goodbye.
Right.
Are you happy enough, Paddy?
Oh, sure.
Or Patrick? And a big shout out to all your family, and fair play to you, Patrick.
Hello, everybody. Whoever sees us far away or close to home, or whoever is looking at Facebook. You keep telling me you're looking at it, but you want to be looking at it now, sure.
Goodbye to you all. Thank you very much.
Yeah.